Hi, I'm Megan.
And I'm Rob. You're watching
Lists of 13.
Here you'll find lists of various topics, all in sets of 13.
If you have tristodectophobia, an irrational fear of the number 13, this video may not be for you. Otherwise, enjoy the list.
Today we're talking about someone who is arguably, possibly one of the smartest people who has ever lived. I have heard him described as a genius before, and there are many people that describe him as a misunderstood genius.
Today we bring you 13 facts about Steve Jobs that you probably didn't know.
Number 1. Steve Jobs was adopted. He didn't actually meet his biological sister until he was 27.
That's interesting. I wonder at what age he learned he was adopted.
It's a great question.
Number 2. Steve Jobs was only half white. He was also half Arab, as his father was Syrian. In the 6th grade, he was bullied for being odd. He told his parents he would drop out if they didn't move, so they moved to Los Altos in California.
Probably a good place for him to go. I mean, a lot more diversity than most places in this country.
Yes, which is an unfortunate fact, but very true.
Number 3. As a teenager, Jobs dreamed of becoming a Buddhist monk. He only listened to music that aligned with his beliefs.
Well, I guess as we know now, his legacy took him to places much different than that of a Buddhist monk.
Very true.
Number 4. Steve Jobs considered his experimentation with LSD to be one of the most important things in his life.
I mean, you think very differently after doing that type of drug, so kind of makes sense you would say that.
I don't have any experience, however, I will say that if you look at the legacy of all of the ideas and products that he brought to the table, though, they are very different. So perhaps we can thank illicit drugs for some of that creative genius.
Number 5. Steve's signature was inside every original Macintosh.
That's super cool. I wonder how many people realize that his signature was inside of there.
I bet the answer is not many.
I mean, that can make an original Macintosh that much more valuable for a number of reasons.
True story.
Number 6. He told the Stanford graduates during their 2005 commencement, "I didn't have a dorm room, so I slept on the floor in friends' rooms. I returned Coke bottles for the 5-cent deposits to buy food with, and I would walk the 7 miles across town every Sunday night to get one good meal at the Hare Krishna temple."
For somebody that had as much money as he did when he passed away, that's some really humble beginnings.
Agreed.
Number 7. For decades, Steve Jobs was criticized for his lack of philanthropy. Little did the public know he had been secretly donating his money to a bunch of different charities. Jobs donated $52 million of his own money to California state hospitals. He was responsible for the building of a new children's hospital and several medical buildings. He also donated a large portion of his money to AIDS research.
So I guess perhaps because he wasn't going around tooting his own horn, people just assumed the worst of him.
You know, really, I feel like he did philanthropy the way it's actually meant to be done.
I agree. Number 8. In 1979, George Lucas founded Lucasfilm's computer division. In 83, they hired John Lasseter, and in 84, he was partially finished with their first short film titled The Adventures of Andre and Wally B. The company and its 44 employees fell in hard times around 1986, and Steve Jobs stepped in to buy the company from George Lucas for $10 million. He rebranded the company as Pixar, and with his financial support, Lasseter was able to make his directorial debut with Luxo Jr., which ended up being the first 3D CGI film to be nominated for an Academy Award.
And as we talked in a previous film that was about Pixar, Luxo is one of your favorite parts of the Pixar films.
Right.
Number 9. Steve Jobs was one that played by his own rules, not others. Therefore, he never put license plates on his cars.
Wonder if he was ever ticketed.
That's a great question.
I mean, really, I'd like just to not put license plates on my cars too, but I'm not as cool as Steve Jobs.
Right, I mean, I think if a policeman pulled over Steve Jobs, he could have played the whole "do you know who I am" card, and most of the time if somebody pulled you over and you're like, "do you know who I am?" the police officer's probably going to think in his head, a pretty girl who's still going to get a ticket.
Number 10. Google founders Sergey Brin and Larry Page considered Steve Jobs their mentor. When When Google entered the phone market with its Android devices, Jobs felt betrayed and stated that they had stolen some features of the iPhone.
That is kind of sad. I hate the idea of him feeling betrayed, but at the same time, I'm glad that Google did what they did because there's now more competition in the market. Number 11. During his lifetime, Steve Jobs owned almost 100 pairs of Levi jeans.
Well, I'm pretty sure every picture of him, I've seen him wearing a pair of Levi jeans, so that makes sense. However, I am curious because I was really under the impression that Levi's was intended to be a sustainable company with longevity in its wear. Perhaps I guess he just liked jeans.
New ones, too.
Right. Number 12. Steve Jobs was a college dropout. His GPA was only 2.65.
So what that makes me learn is not everyone who graduates with an amazing degree from college is awesome. And then there's people like Steve Jobs who are just about failing out of college and they do all right without their college degree.
Right.
And number 13, Jobs was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2003. He declined surgery and instead subscribed to an alternative medicine regimen including vegan diet, acupuncture, and herbal remedies. He even consulted a psychic. After 9 months, he did, however, opt for surgery. Many believe the delay was a major factor in his eventual decline. He passed away October 5th, 2011, and is buried in an unmarked grave.
Knowing my experience with people that have had pancreatic cancer, the fact that he even made it 9 months is really remarkable. So I can see why people think that may have been a major factor in his eventual decline, but that's still remarkable, especially since he wasn't telling people he was sick. And I also find it very interesting that he's buried in an unmarked grave, like he just didn't want to shrine to the life that he left behind.
Funny thing though, there is a headstone for him, from my understanding, at the headquarters of Apple. It's this big, huge iPod, and there's something on it saying something about a critical failure.
That's humorous.
We hope you enjoyed this list today about Steve Jobs.
Tell us in the comments if you learned anything new, or perhaps your own fun fact about Steve Jobs. Thanks again for watching. If you liked this video, give it a thumbs up.
And if you're not subscribed, go ahead and subscribe to get notified when we post new videos.
After subscribing, ring the bell on YouTube or click follow next to our name on Facebook, then click edit settings. Choose how often you'd like to be notified of new videos. We hope you choose all videos.
After that, tell all your friends.
We hope you enjoy your day and keep being kind to one another.